Here's the key. Love and mercy, that's all we need today. Love and mercy, that's all we need today. Who knows it? Come on. Let me have some faith in humanity. Somebody must know that. The greatest living artist who ever lived. The greatest. Nobody? Love and Mercy, Brian Wilson. Homework assignment, listen to that song. All right? Where is Financial Juice? You know Financial Juice works late at night now? Did you all know that? I have a Squawk Box late at night. It's awesome. All right. Greatest song ever written? Anybody? Greatest song ever written? Anybody? Anybody out there? Anybody home? It's music night. Come on. It's music night. Greatest song ever written. Ever written. Greatest song ever written. Not I Love Trash by Oscar the Grouch. Nope. Not going to cut it. Top five. Top five. Give me a second. I have to decide if I want to sing it or not. I can't sing it. I may not always love you, knowing there are stars above you. You'll never need to doubt it. I'll make you sure about it. Who's got it? Let's go. Who's got it? All right, David, you always get it. You always get it. Nah, no hardcore stuff for me, Mark. No hardcore stuff for me. I mean, you could like the Ramones, but I'm sorry, totally forgettable. Nobody knows the song they've ever written, except a Ramones fan. That's the difference between a great artist and a band that had a flash. The Ramones had a flash. Now, you might not agree with me, and that's fine. I'm no Beach Boys fan, but Brian Wilson, maybe the greatest musician, songwriter, composer who ever lived in our lives, in humanity. Up there with Beethoven, Mozart, McCartney. Some news is coming out right now. Let's go in the room. I'm going to start putting music in the trade room before I get here. I've been meaning to do it. All right, that's me, Lee Goldstein, Trading Director, 10-Minute Trades. Remember that all trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Trade carefully. So true about the Beach Boys. They hated each other. None of them surfed. But you know what? It has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the music that Brian Wilson wrote in a state of complete and total psychological illness. I mean, he was completely mentally ill. And he wrote some of the most beautiful music in the history, like I said, the history of humanity. It's not like the history of, and this is not my opinion, it's fact. I'm calling it fact. All right. I'm not gonna do my music thing tonight. We're gonna do Australian jobs tonight. That's what we're gonna do. There was just a slight Australian, I think it's the house price. They had a house price piece of news. I think the Beach Boys still hate each other more. You know what started this? Spotify sent me a playlist Another artist who definitely is underrated as a solo artist, Don Henley. Don Henley has written some unbelievable songs. Unbelievable. The Heart of the Matter, um, New York Minute. There's a song on his new record, Cass County, which is not new anymore. It's like 5 years old. Train in the Distance. Oh my God. You got to listen to that song. It's like, I don't know how people can write music like that. I don't know how they do it. I truly believe that some people are a vessel for God when it comes to music. Whether you believe in God or not even material to the conversation, has nothing to do with it. Some people receive gifts from wherever. They are just a receptor of that gift. You know, for me, it's my good looks. I mean, that's my gift. Yes, I know. It's you know, it's something I have to deal with. It is something I have to deal with. Okay, so let's talk for a second about the news that just came out. It was the Bank of Korea. They did not change their interest rate. Now, I don't know anybody that expected them to, but they didn't. So that's a big piece of news. The Bank of Korea's interest rate. What do you trade on the Bank of Korea? What's the Korean currency called? Who knows what the Korean currency is called? Anybody? Eric, no one's paying attention. No one's paying attention. David, that's not even funny. I should throw you out of the room for that one. Honestly, you should be thrown out of the room. That's not funny. It's hilarious, but it's not funny. Australian dollar. All right, let's talk about Australian dollar. My God, I don't know how I do this. It's 9 o'clock at night, folks. It's been a long day. There's a lot of people here. I'm telling everybody now, all right? Everybody that's here now, and I'm not kidding. If you have not taken advantage of our deal, you don't have much time left. I never sell in the room. I just don't. It's the yuan. The yuan. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Cliff. Folks, time is running out. Our deal is a good deal. Hang on, I'm listening to the news in the background, and the inflation expectation for Australia is what came out at 9 o'clock. And I don't know if all the central banks are lying or what, but they claimed it was 3.7% versus a projection, a previous of 4.4. And you could see there was absolutely no response at all from the Australian dollar. We're looking at the Australian dollar now. That's what we're going to trade in this trade, okay? We're going to trade the Australian dollar.
Haley, Eric in the house.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Everyone.
I think because you were in your car is why you couldn't talk. For some reason, I couldn't turn your audio on. It probably had to do with your mobile.
No, you know what it is, and maybe we could even do a test tonight if any members have their microphone ready and not shy to come on tonight. I came in just like a regular member subscriber, so I'm not even sure, and maybe I'll ask Cliff, David, Mark, on your end, guys, when you in the platform, the Pro Trading Room, do you guys see an option like mute, unmute? And we could do this after the trade. Don't want to take away from the trade, but let me know, guys, in the chat right now.
That option would be on your taskbar above the charts. It would be in the taskbar. There would be a little microphone.
Correct.
So the question is if you see it.
Yeah, and don't be shy, even if you do have.
Hey, Chantal, are you here?
Yeah, that'd be a good person to ask.
Chantal, you here? I know your picture's here, but you know what? Let me get the trade going, and we'll deal with it.
Yeah,
We'll deal
yeah.
with
Well,
it later.
on the trade, Lee, I just want to say hello to everyone, but and then I'll let you do your thing, and then I'll come back later after the trade. Well, Chantal said yes. Um, so we'll bring Chantal on. No, Lee, just really quickly, your Forex Factory, the forecast. I noticed a difference between what I have shown on Forex Factory versus what you
Okay, yeah,
have.
yeah. What we're seeing this year is Financial Juice, Forex Factory. None of the calendars agree.
That's
So
interesting.
it's a big issue. It's a big issue if a report is very, very close. Um,
Mhm.
you know, we used to always say that Forex Factory was the gold standard. I use Financial Juice because they're getting it from a squawk. They're getting it from what I
Mhm.
think is a really good news source. I just trust their news source, but I do not trust investing.com. Well, we look at investing.com because you don't have to touch the chart to see a
Yeah,
result.
and yeah, and just to be clear for those who are not following along, so if you see there, Lee has investing.com, and you see the employment
Right
change
here.
has 30, he has 30,000 is the forecast. I have
Yeah.
forexfactory.com, and it's showing
20.
19.7K.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a
so
little
about
bit
20K.
concerned about this. Yep. I'm seeing 20
Yeah,
on Financial Juice. That 10,000 is so big that it would render the calendar meaningless if they're wrong. In other words, if investing.com is 10,000 off, that could be the difference between a good trade and a bad trade.
yeah.
So
I
we just
honestly
have to
never
be
seen this
careful, is
before.
what it
Wow.
means.
Yeah.
Say again?
No, I don't well, I never really used to use investing.com, so I never really compared the two,
Oh,
but you're saying
the
that
only reason I use them is because you don't have to click. I don't have time to click um,
on the
a
green
chart in
arrow.
the middle of a trade. Yeah, I don't want. I don't want to take the time. What if I have to move my
Smart.
stop or whatever? It's really inconvenient.
No,
So
you're
with
right.
Financial Juice now, FX Street is another platform just for fun. Since we're talking about this, let me pull it up because there's not a lot of preparation to do in this trade. So don't panic, everybody out there. We'll get the trade set up in a minute.
Yeah.
FX Street. Give me 1 second if I can find it. I have it. I want to see what their calendar is saying because what's interesting about FX Street, which you see here now, it's my screen. Um, FX Street is 30,000. They agree with investing.com, which is interesting. So what it means is that what happens with this report anyway is it's gonna burst one way or the other. It most probably will not sit and depend on the news result for the initial move. That's our experience with this trade anyway, so it probably won't be a factor, but it could be a factor in how long you want to stay in the trade, because what we're saying is we're looking at multiple calendars and the forecasts are radically different. That's what we're saying here. Okay. Okay. Um, it's becoming an issue more and more commonly since the pandemic. That's what we're seeing. But look at last month's move. Yeah, hang on. I heard myself talking in a video and it threw me off. This was last month, just to give you an idea. So the news came out. Ironically, last month they were expecting 30,000. You had a big burst, big burst. A lot of positive slippage last month. It was a very positive trade. The point, and look at the difference in the news. It was 115,000 jobs created versus an expectation of 30,000. No, you know what? Um, no, nope. They are expecting 30. What we're saying is when you go and you look at Financial Juice, they're expecting 20, okay? They're expecting 20. And then if you look at Forex Factory, they're expecting, I'm believing what Eric said without pulling it up. I think Eric said 19,000. So if you look at Forex Factory real quick, it's easy to do. 19.7, okay? So it just means we have to be a little bit mindful of the news result, which we normally don't have to worry about. It's just one more thing we have to worry about. That's all it is. So maybe we could use people in the trade room to be our eyes and ears. I mean, Chantal, do you look at a specific website for the news, or do you not? In other words, what I'm thinking, if we could get a volunteer to type in, if someone who's not trading or someone who's trading in sim wants to type in, you know what, forget it. Don't worry about it. Let's just remember that the difference in results is between 19 and 30. What we want to see is like 45,000 jobs created, or 15,000 jobs created, 13,000 jobs created. That'll solve our problem. The tick value is $5 a tick. Let's look at the report because I am trading this report differently. Now remember that people lost money this morning because they used a different entry time. I have been trading this report for a very long time. I do not use an entry time of 58 under any circumstances, okay? And I'll say it again so everybody hears me. I don't use entry times of 58 on any report in this market, okay? I'm going to enter at 59. I'm entering at 59. I'm also using 3 targets, 5, 10, and 20, okay? 5, 10, and 20. And I'm using a stop of 12, not 15. So once again, my personal setup is an entry time of 59. You know what? I'll put my trade in. Now, this is a money trade. That doesn't mean it's 100% this trade's going to work. There's no guarantees in trading. It's been a very nicely performing trade. And I've been trading with reasonably tight targets because it does have a history. If you look at the ticks, this is the maximum tick it's moved, okay? Maximum ticks it's moved, not counting the bracket and slippage though, okay? Not counting bracket and slippage. It's a 5 bracket, so I'm going to slightly modify my second target, and I'm going to go to like 16 ticks. If we get positive slippage, I'll take it, okay? But the history of the move, while sometimes it goes further than our target, sometimes it doesn't, okay? Sometimes it doesn't. Dutchy, I'm not looking. Tell me what you posted because I'm not going to look at it yet. Tell me what you posted. This was April. This was April. Did you have a question? Ask a question rather than post something. It's easier for me. So this is April. It really didn't go all that far. And that's why I don't think it's necessarily the smartest thing to use giant targets, okay? I don't think the smartest thing to do is use giant targets. Yeah, it says 58. I know what it says. I'm using 59, okay? I'm using 59. I don't make the DMMs. I trade the reports, all right? I don't make the DMMs. I don't always agree with the entry times. It is what it is. To me, now look, Dutchy, a lot of times an entry time, we used to use entry times of 57. A lot of times an entry time won't even matter. A lot of times it won't matter. But when the markets are volatile like they are today, I want to enter as late as humanly possible. It hasn't hurt a single trade that we've taken on the Australia jobs report all year. Okay? If one time I'm wrong and 58 was the right time, that doesn't make me wrong. It makes that one trade wrong. Okay? The current markets demand later entries because we're seeing later news responses. It's just the way the markets have been behaving. It doesn't mean you can't use 58, but quite a few people used 58 this morning, and it was not the best time to enter. I don't like entering early, especially if there's the potential for volatility. And a jobs report has volatility potential. If it was part of my personal testing that 58 was the time to enter, then I would enter at 58. But I found this trade by my personal testing. That's what it turned it into, a family money trade. That testing was done at 59. Okay? So that's why I'm using 59. Now, if everybody in the room gets stopped tonight because we entered 59, that's life. That's how it goes. I do not believe that the entry time is going to be the critical decision tonight, but I want the entry time on my side according to my testing. That's my rant. That's my rant. I'm going to check everything, Mark, because I rushedly put in my my orders. So starting from the top, I've got a bracket of 5. I've got a position of 2 for 5 ticks. I've got 1 position for 10 ticks. I've got 1 position for 16 ticks. I don't expect to hit 16 ticks. Mark, don't sweat it. Stop loss is 12. I know that the chart says, the report says 15. I've been trading this report all year with a stop of 11, but I like to add 1 extra tick. And then I'm trading 6A, Australia jobs. You know why I like to label my trades? Because they will show up in the control panel. It's a breakout trade. Okay. Trading for real. 5 tick bracket. 2 targets for 5 ticks. 1 target for 10 ticks. 1 target for 16. And man, you know, I'm putting 15 in there because sometimes when I trade, Mark, when you say what you're saying again, break even profit ticks. Are you talking break even profit ticks? It's always set to 1. It's as long as break even trigger ticks is 0, it won't trigger. I've got to get the programmer to change the default. What Mark is talking about, break even profit ticks, he's worried about that number. His is always 0. When the programmer did some updates, he accidentally set it to 1, but as long as the trigger is off, it has no effect on the trade. That's what Mark is saying, but we don't have to worry about it. Thank you, Mark. That's funny that you never noticed it before. I know you're trying to help me, and you know I love you for it, so don't sweat it. Thank you. One more time, the setup. Let's check the sync of the time. The sync of the time. Go to the website time.is. For me, I've been in sync all week. Now, let's look at something, all right, real quick. First off, let me get my recorder on. I know sometimes I go too fast. You're allowed to ask me to slow down, especially new people, because there's so many new people. And I'm expecting a ton of new people by the time this week is over. A ton. So remember, also, if you're a member, we'll extend your membership. If you're a monthly trade room person, right? If you're paying to come into the trade room monthly and you don't buy the sale, it doesn't make any sense. You can save so much money. Okay? That's the truth. A lot of money. And you know I don't sell in the trade room, but I'm just like, this is one time, folks, where I really think something good's going on. We're up 210 today from our PPI trade, and it was a difficult trade this morning. Some people had difficult trades. Let's look, just for fun, last month, look at the entry time of the Australian jobs report. See if you can tell. See if you can tell. My orders are going on at 59. Now, when you're dealing with software in an analog world, right? And I say in an analog world, 59, you have plenty of time if the order goes on at 59. Plenty of time. I don't need my order on a second early. I just don't. Look at May. Look at May. May was closer, but still safe at 59. You know how I know? I made money. 59, there's no move yet. No move. My orders are on the chart. Starts to move at 00. Maybe a nanosecond before that. Okay? A nanosecond before it. I could get filled at the top of the candle tonight and want to be really upset that I didn't go in at 58. It can happen. But the history, recent history of this trade, here's another one. 00 is when the move takes place. Okay? No fill. No fill yet. It's close. Sometimes it's close. 58.
Lee, it's
Also
Eric again.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I'd like to ask you is, looking at the video, so awesome to see these past videos from the months before. It looks like the spike happens really soon. And then what is your recommendation to everyone tonight? Again, for educational purposes only, if it spikes within the first couple seconds, is this one of those trades where you want to hit the break even? Do you not want to stay in past a few seconds here? How should everyone be
My
ready
goal
to handle this trade?
for this trade, the goal is to have your target small enough that it takes you out of the trade. Because with Australia, you have low liquidity, especially this time of night. So I want to just, ultimately, I'd like to get taken out of the trade. I don't automate the trade because of low liquidity. So I don't move my stop until after my targets are hit. That's why my first target also is small. And my second target is reasonably small, 5 and 10. So my goal is to get my first two targets hit, then I'll move my stop out of harm's way, preferably. That would be the approach that I would take. Does that help? Now that it's interesting, but Financial Juice will not stop yakking tonight. They're talking the Australian jobs report. So I'm trading 2 contracts for 5 ticks, 1 contract for 10, and I know it's quick, I'm going to leave it where it is. 5, 10, and 15. That's what I'm looking for. But it's really going to depend on the kind of move that we get based on the news. Remember, most of the calendars are showing 20,000 jobs are expected. My activation time is 21:59. I'm losing it. 21:29:59. 21:29:59. Okay. It's a 9:30 trade Eastern time. 21. Am I losing it? It's 21:59. So forgive me. I'm losing it today. I'm losing it. No, it's 21,
Look,
29,
21:29.
59.
21:29.
I'm
Lee, can you
losing
hear
it,
me?
folks. Yeah, I got it.
21:29. I think it's time to focus in.
21:29:59.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone. Guys, everyone should be focusing in on their charts.
21:29:59. 21:29:59. That's what happens when you start at 8 in the morning. You get tired. Think about it. 21:29, right? And 59 seconds. Then 1 second later, it's 21:30. And that's the trade, that's the news release time. 21:30. Okay, you got a minute. We've checked the sync. The important number is the employment change. The second important number is the employment rate. It's better if they agree. In other words, if a lot of jobs are created, the employment rate will go down. I think more jobs are going to be created. I think the Australian economy is growing. I never trade on what I think. Okay? We don't trade on what we think, though. Five seconds. So a kind of a mediocre move. Shrinking my stop, combining my targets. I don't like the move. Okay, so I didn't like that move, folks. So I just took like 7 ticks roughly. When I see a move that isn't what's expected, a big burst, and I think one of the problems, now you should be out of your trade. You should be out of your trade. This is not a normal, it's a normal move, but it's not a big move. And when it's not a big move, I want out of the trade, okay? And that's why I did what I did. It almost behaved. It almost hit my target. Now, I need to really explain what I did, all right? I need to explain what I did so everybody understands. Entry time was not a problem. Watch the price action for a couple of minutes. Watch the price action. When you have a trade enabled, you have buttons up on the top. I hit the combine button. Did you notice what it did? It combined all of my orders. So in a trade that wasn't working very well, it let me move all of my orders in one shot, okay? One shot. I didn't have to mess around with 3 different orders. The employment change says 29, but on Financial Juice it says 29 also. Was the market looking at investing.com and that's why we had a crummy move? You know, it's possible. It's possible. Investing.com, a lot of people like watching it because you don't have to press a button to get the result. Now, so tell me what your results were. What happened to you in the trade? Did you make a couple of bucks? It was not a trade that gave us an opportunity to make very much money. I made $70. And I only made that much money because I was willing to risk 4 contracts. $70 is not a whole heck of a lot of ticks. Okay, it's $5 a tick. So it's like 14. Now, Green Machine, why, what happened to cause such a negative trade? That's something we want to analyze. What was your fill? What was your fill? Okay. Everybody type
Lee,
out what your fill was.
hey Lee, I'm back. I'm back. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's so not funny, but what I just asked you before the trade, right? What did I ask Lee? I said, Lee, listen, what's the typical behavior of this? And Lee said it. This is one of the ones where if it's not moving in the first a couple seconds, be careful, get out. And so I just sent you my screenshot. I traded 3 contracts. My entry time was 58. I did follow the DMM precisely. My first entry was all my entries were at 74760. So I think you had a few at 70.
I
Hills
had
had one
one at
at
60
60.
and
Yeah.
I had two at 60. I had 3 at 70 and 1 at 60.
Yeah. So I mean, without it's not apples to apples, right? Because different computers, different
Yeah,
internet speed. But bottom line is that one difference in the 58, 59. For argument's sake, we could say that maybe that's what helped me get a 1 tick better fill. Regardless of that, bottom line is I think you're right on the money. Everyone definitely had opportunity to get a few ticks, and when I say a few, I mean a few. So I went from 60 to I think one of them I broke even. Actually, 2 I may have broke even, and one of them I went to 85. So the software, there's been a lot of great updates, and so I did not use the combine feature, but I did use the break even feature. When I saw that it popped, and maybe you could play the video in a second, and then it lost its kind of momentum to keep moving up, that's when I hit the break even function. So I'm just reading off. I see TD um, future, and again, I apologize. I don't know everyone's name. I know everyone has like a cool nickname. $50 on 2 contracts. So similar to me, right? TD. Kim, $80 on Sim. Victor, $20. I'm assuming that's live. And then Green Machine, we're trying to figure out what happened. Made $60 in my Sim, Dutchy. Mark made about $100. So Green Machine,
Green Machine had a
uh,
very bad fill. So my question is where you're located, speed of
yeah,
internet, speed of computer. Those are my first 3 things that I'm wondering just tonight. Even though
yeah,
you really haven't had a problem previously, it's something I'm thinking about when you have a
yeah.
fill that's that far off.
Yeah, we want to help you, Green Machine. So give us all the information, broker as well. Chantal is asking about,
Yeah.
but it sounds like, and again, totally Green Machine. Give us all the information so we could help better analyze what happened there. Because without, I'm just going to make an assumption here. I mean, this trade would definitely suck you off for $300 if you stayed in too long, right? So without even knowing about broker, this and other thing, you see it. If you had stayed in this trade. Um, are you playing it right now?
Yeah,
So
so
let's watch. Let's watch.
here's the real time version of the trade. Okay, real time.
Okay.
Nothing being stopped, just watch it take place in real time. It started moving after 0, 0.
Okay.
It breaks even and pulls back under break even. It fills and pulls back under the fill. And that always makes for a very difficult trade when a trade immediately pulls back into negative territory. I get extremely concerned.
And yeah, can you pause for a second?
Yeah,
So there's this. It's sometimes like even Lee, who's been doing this. There's just so many things to make sure we point on. The number one thing that we always have to point out, which we didn't do, is the results. So just that was the first thing that everyone should have looked at when we're, in addition to candle behavior. So the results, as we see the unemployment change, even though it shows red, which I'm assuming investing.com is similar to Forex, right? Does red mean
yeah,
that it's
yeah, it
a
means negative.
strong deviation? Well, or just
No,
negative?
no, it just means negative. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean strong.
so it actually was very close, right? So the 29 versus 30K, and then we talked about the other ones. So more likely than not, this is like almost like a matching, right? 29 versus 30K, and then same with the participation rate, 66.2 versus 66.3.
Yeah.
So do you agree with that analysis? These are matching numbers
Well, the
almost.
problem we were dealing with also, which what I was saying is I did call out the news results, and I was
Yes.
saying that the difference, I was checking Financial Juice to see that their result was the same, but yes, I was questioning what most traders are looking at, and that's an unknown. We don't know. In other words,
Yeah.
let's say most traders are looking at investing.com, then you have matching news. Matching
Yeah.
news creates a crappy move, and that's what we got. We
Yeah.
got a crappy move.
Yeah, so Green Machine entered. So Green Machine, were you trading live? And what's your name, by the way? Yeah, so Green Machine mentioned that he stayed in, didn't really know how to use Combine, and that he's a new member. So I think there's a great lesson, an opportunity. Maybe we could go on Sim and maybe show everyone or even in the video, I see the break even right there in the Combine, how that works. Um, and I'll tell you
Well, it's
that
even more of a lesson, Eric. I don't mean to interrupt you, but here's
Go
the real
ahead.
serious lesson. Green,
Go ahead.
if you're using the platform and you don't know what something does, how many contracts did you trade? And I'm not picking on you, but you should not have been trading more than one contract. If there's elements of the platform and you don't know what they do, you're putting yourself at greater risk. And you're better off. I know you've been making some money, but you don't want to give it back because, yes, so I'm going to yell at you for trading too many contracts without knowing all the features in the platform. I personally would not do that. I personally would not do that. And I trade for 10 years. I've been doing this. So yeah, I'm not going to show them to you now because it's 9:30 at night. But there are videos also online. You've got to start watching some of those videos. And we're going to have a very serious webinar for everybody new to go over the new features. But you should be trading small until you're comfortable with all the features, because I protected myself by look what the combine button did for me. All right, so watch.
Show that, yeah. Show that.
Yep.
Show that, yeah.
So watch the trade. We're trading. I'm trading the trade. I know in my heart we've got a lousy move. I know in 1 second. I'm stopping it for a second. I know we have a lousy move because it didn't even hit it didn't fill my first target. That's my first target there. It didn't hit it. It was 5 tiny little ticks. I know up here, green, I've got the combine button. It's going to take all my targets and move them all to the closest price to the current price. So in other words, if I have 2 orders higher than this, I have another order you can't see higher than this, it's going to bring it in, and it's going to bring this one in to here. So all my orders are going to sit in one place so that I can easily watch. I'm going to hit that combine button because I don't like the way this trade's behaving. Watch. I'm going to go up here. Bingo. See what my orders did? They all merged. So I can easily manage myself out of the trade. But don't trade 6 contracts just because you want to make money until you're so comfortable with the platform that you know it in your sleep. All right. However, you still had a pretty lousy fill. And I think it might just be a fluke. What was your entry time? And if you're trading with Interactive Broker, that's a whole other issue. And it's a miracle if you even make money trading.
No, he didn't say that. I think Chantal
Okay.
just asked a
Oh,
question.
okay. You don't want to trade with Interactive Broker under any circumstances at all. At all. Okay. You can't get fills out of Interactive Broker that'll let you have a winning trade. It just, their API isn't good enough, and it slows everything down. So the exit, for me, I honestly, an exit is the hardest part of any trade. I just, because of knowing the way this report behaves, all I tried to do was get out as fast as I could. That was my only goal. I just moved my targets until they would hit. I saw that price almost looked like it was changing its mind, right? In other words, I chased it down. And then I stopped because I saw it was reversing and it took me out, okay? And that's what actually saved my trade. So sometimes you just have to, it happens so fast that I can't even tell you what to do. It becomes just part of the way you trade a mediocre trade. I don't think you did anything necessarily wrong. I think you had a bad fill, but I just don't want you to trade that many contracts unless you know what all the features do,
Yeah.
so you can protect yourself.
And Lee, I know you said that you mentioned there's another webinar. When is that webinar taking place? That's going to go over kind of the in and outs for new members, etc. Do you
We
have an
haven't
idea?
scheduled it yet, but within 2 weeks. Within 2
Within the
weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah,
So
we
after
got
the
to
sale's
finish.
done?
As soon as the sale's done, we'll schedule it because we have
Yeah.
a lot of new people.
Yeah, but for starters, let me just point one thing out real quick. Like, so can you go to the video when you have your profit target and your stop up? I just want to point one thing out. And this is something of more of a preference thing. So before Lee incorporated the combine and break even feature, this didn't exist before. You want to point that out, what I'm talking about, the BE and the combine with your
Yeah,
mouse?
these two buttons did not exist until recently.
Right. So and by the way, I really appreciate everyone sticking around. I know it's late, and Lee, I also don't, I know it's late for Lee too. But one of the things, and Lee will go over this, I'll just share with you my experience is that when you're in this trade right here, right, you have the break-even combined features, right? Forget about those for now. Let's pretend you're not using those. What are you going to use to get out of the trade? You can either pull that stop up, or you could select on your individual limits, the sell limits, and get out of the trade there. So that's something that, and I don't know if Lee, you have a kind of a preference or what you think is the right way, but I'm kind of, it's late for me too. But what do you like to move up? The stop, or you prefer to move your profit
Okay,
targets?
so what, it took me years to decide that you should never move anything except your stop. Because, and the reason for that is if you move your stop and you leave your targets, even though that's not what I did today, because it was a bad opportunity because of where the price was, more often than not, if you move your stop, you'll get lucky enough that price will change direction and hit your targets. If you always shrink your targets, you'll always have small winners. So that's what you're wrestling with. So I try to move my stop more often than I move my targets because I want, and Mark, who's in the room, is really the person that has been banging me over the head with that as a good lesson. Because
Oh, is
he
that
does
right?
that. Yeah, he's really a good discretionary trader. And it's just a great lesson that it's actually helped me look how much bigger our trades have been in the past year than they used to be.
Mark, yeah, Mark, can you confirm that? And any other folks in the room, what their style is? Do they move the profit targets versus the stop, and what you feel is the right way to go about it? And
And there's no right or wrong. That's
right,
the trading is so individualized anyway. It's like, but
yeah,
but if you analyze, there's a right and a wrong if you do enough analysis. And I think if you do the analysis, you'll find that if you're always moving your targets and shrinking them, you'll have smaller winners. So I think if you would analyze it, you'll ultimately start moving your stop more when you have the opportunity. If you look at the price action though, it was really hard. If we go back and look what happened, it was kind of hard to move the stop well because we had to worry about the targets also. In other words, I was worried about my targets. I wanted to get them combined, and I did shrink my stop when I saw that the trade wasn't working. See right there? I shrunk my stop by about a quarter. So I'm always thinking about reducing my risk no matter what. That's always my first thought.
My memory from when I used to trade really big, honestly, is that I didn't move my stop. I actually, and the reason why I liked moving my profit target is because more times than not, if you think about it, right, if the trade's going in your direction, what's closer to to getting out? Moving your stop, which is so far away from where you need to get out, or the profit target, which it should be closer. So I'm just saying that for my personal success, I'm used to using the profit target. What I think I'm going to start doing now is utilizing the break even function
Right.
more so that when I hit the break even function, at least I know my stop is covering me at break even and then trying to get out additionally with the profit target. But um, I hear what you're saying with the stop.
Keep
I
one thing
also
in
want to,
mind, break even
yes,
goes to break even plus one. And you must be
that's true.
profitable in order to use it. In other words, the break even button only works when its trade is profitable.
You want to pull up my trade and just quickly see, because I did use the break even function, and it's possible that I did get out with break even plus one. If you can, I did
Where
email it to you.
where is,
I
oh, you
emailed,
emailed it to me? Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
can pull
emailed
it
it to
up.
you.
Give me a second.
And
Yep.
yeah, and while you're pulling that up, again, I'm hoping this dialogue helps folks, right? So I asked Lee to point out some of the features. We talked about getting out of the trade. I hope this helps everybody. One of the things I want to point about today's trade is that this is exactly, again, why, as simple as this um, program is, this is why you don't have people that are successful for the long run, why you don't have so many of them. It's because, yes, this is a family money trade, but look, this wasn't a blowout trade tonight. It just wasn't. And it required you to be disciplined enough to know that nope, we didn't have that big those two, those big home runs like Lee showed in the previous months. But you know, Lee, even trading multiple contracts, was disciplined to get out with a few contracts. So again, not trying to make this into like a rocket science, but I'm just telling you that as simple as our trading strategy is, this is kind of like what makes people who are in it for the long run successful. People that recognize that even if this is a great trade, any trade at any time, and a lot of it has to do with the news results, right? So I think that's really it for tonight. Recognizing that the news results were matching, and we saw a little movement, but we didn't see a blowout. Take your handful of ticks and call it a good night.
Exactly. And you did exactly what you think. If you look at your chart, you hit that break even button and your exit is at your stop. It's where
Okay.
the stop and your exit are equal. Okay.
Hmm. How
In
come I
other
wasn't
words,
plus one?
I'm not saying it was plus one or not because I don't know where your stop was at that moment. When you hit the
Okay.
break even button, it brought your target and your stop. It brought your stop to 60. And when that price action moved down, that's when it took you out.
Okay.
In other words, remember how much it moved down. It went up and then it pulled me down.
Yeah, and take a look at the price action at Australia. And that's the other thing that I wanted to tell Lee. It's like I know we're focusing right now out of the trade, but I didn't even study the DMM too much to know if like there was a good reversal. But bottom line is that looking at the, oh, go ahead, Lee. You're playing the video again.
Go ahead, you could talk. I'm letting
No,
people
no, no.
just
I
watch it.
just show everyone the live chart right now. I want to just let's take a look at what's going on with this Australian dollar right now, 20 minutes after the trade.
So it went up and now it's reversing. And you have a
Yeah.
squeeze signal with motivation to go short up until this candle here. That's when the
Hmm.
short ended. because you see the squeeze change color and it changed momentum to the high side also.
Yeah, it's late, and I
But
don't
it
even
was
want to
not,
go
it
on.
wasn't an easy reversal. This was not an
Yeah,
easy, not an easy trade because you have matching news. It's hard to trust your
right,
reversal also. And we don't know if we had matching news because the calendars were so messed up tonight. You know, it was
right.
difficult. It was a difficult trade.
What do we got
That's the
tomorrow?
truth. Tomorrow, the only trade room is natural gas, not a family money trade. But I'll tell you something. Natural gas has been trading so well that if I had left it as a family money trade, we'd be up. It wouldn't be even like it was or slightly negative. It's been really good. It's 4 winners in a row, and I'm reevaluating what I want to do with natural gas, to be honest. But the key is you have to be willing to trade 3 contracts or you can't win. You can't make enough money with natural gas. But tomorrow is a more of a lesson, and Friday is the retail news, which is family money.
Lee, it's late. I imagine you want to wrap up tonight's
Yeah,
session
I'm
and
ready to
get
go.
some good rest. Yeah, you ready to go? Let me just say this. You took 2 trades today, right?
Yeah, I'm going to put
Two
the
trades.
sell up too.
Yeah,
I
yeah. So we
took,
had yeah,
was it
yeah,
two? I don't even remember.
two family money trades. Each trade lasted a few seconds. And look at this. I mean, Lee's trading. Yeah, he did trade a few contracts, but nothing crazy, right? And
No
you made
crazy.
200. You want to show the $280 that you made real quick? So you made $280. I mean, let's be real. $280. There's a lot of people in this country that $280 is a full days of work. At least 8 hours of working, and this is just again another tool that this doesn't have to be the end all be all, but this is something that whatever it is that you got going on, whether you have a full time job, whether you're into real estate, whether you're into internet marketing, whatever it is that you got going on, this is something that Lee within a few seconds this morning and at night was able to bring in an extra $280. So, great job today. 2 family money trades, successful trades. These weren't blowout trades. Of course, we would have loved it to show you guys another $200 winner. But I'm glad that this is happening because I want people's expectations to be realistic. Not every trade's going to give you $300, and it's going to require discipline, and it's going to require you to know when to get out and be safe. So with that said, Lee, go ahead. And I also want to wish everyone a good evening, but go ahead,
All
let
right. I
folks
just want
know
to show
how
the
they can get
sales
in.
screen. So if anybody is not a member, there's no reason not to get 5 months of everything that we do. 5 months, okay? And you're only paying $4.97. So many times one trade will do it. One trade will do it. So 10minutetrades.com/fireworks. You know, folks, I don't sell in the room. This week I'm selling in the room and then I'm done selling in the room. Okay? So take advantage of this while you have the opportunity. And Green says a great thing and a great lesson, Green, not to worry, that the psychology of what you're saying is the most important thing that we did tonight. He said, green on the day, no worries. So, Green, I just want you to be safe. That's my only concern. I want you to make more money than me. Okay? That's the deal. Cliff, okay, Cliff, you're saying you signed up. Thank you, Cliff. Really appreciate it. Yeah, $90 for an add-on is awesome. If I could make $280 a day, it way more than pays my office rent. Way more than pays my office rent. It pays people's mortgages if you can make that a day. So it's awesome. We don't have to be the only money maker you have, but we want to be one of the money makers you have. All right, folks, I want to say good night to everybody. Thanks for being here. Eric, if you're done, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go, Lee. I do enjoy being in here. I hope that we can figure out how to bring people on. Cliff, let me just pick on you before I leave tonight because you said something really nicely. Can you unmute him? Let's just see what
I'm,
happens.
I can't. In other words, when I
No?
click on him, I
Yeah.
can't unmute him. I'll send
It's
an email. I have to send an email
no,
to,
it's probably an admin thing, and I didn't mean to pick on you. No, Cliff, you said a nice thing. He said that the deal's great. He signed up in the beginning. He's already
oh,
made
he
two
doesn't
extra
have a mic.
investments. Oh, okay. And he's been trading in sim, and I really respect everyone who's in the program right now. And and is still in sim because they want to get more comfortable in understanding. So kudos to everybody on sim tonight, staying up late learning. Trust me, this will pay you dividends, you know, by um, practicing in sim. You're going to make all those mistakes in sim and not cost yourself lots of money and making those same mistakes alive. But anyways, Eric, live from South Florida. Lee's coming live to you from Pennsylvania.
All right,
Hope
folks.
everyone had a great time. My wife's telling me to shut up because the kids are sleeping. Have a good night,
All
everyone.
right, you guys, I'll see everybody tomorrow. We'll be here at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock for natural gas. Let's double check real quick and then I'll get everybody out of here. 10 o'clock natural gas. Okay, folks? See everybody tomorrow. Good night and have a good rest of your night.